a salubrious stamp for today's postcard. We're in the town of Dulwich. People around here prefer to call it Dulwich Village. But whatever you call it, we're in Dulwich. First food with actor Gary Cady at his new restaurant, and to meet with historian and author Brian Greene. But first, here's Gary. It says 1785 up there, so by my reckoning that's a bit Georgian, Gary.
Originally it would have been Georgian, 1785. Actually, this place was rebuilt in the 50s. Yeah, but to the original design. It had got a bit out of hand, it had got huge, it had extensions and it got a bit ugly. So when they rebuilt it back to the original design, and it's more like the house that was here in 1785 now than it's ever been, I think. But it's got the advantage of solid walls and windows that don't shake, and we thought we were going to be freezing in there, and we've got the opposite problem. It's really warm and comfortable.
This is Dulwich? Bel Air?
Bel Air House, Dulwich Village, yeah.
Who did it belong to before?
Originally a private house, back in 1785, somebody, I don't know, some local bigwig, but the council took it over just after the war in the 50s, so I bought the lease from the council. They used it for antiques fairs, and the basement was for changing rooms for the park. I've still got the toilets down there.
And a few old soccer kits.
We threw those out on the skip. Yeah.
Well, it's now a restaurant, a leading restaurant. I mean, I'd not been here before because being a Middlesex boy, you have this big thing, you never cross the Thames.
Yeah, people are either north or south, aren't they?
It's very much. Well, you're Yorkshire.
Yes,
and
which is a long way north.
And Lancashire's a little bit of a taboo, and yet you've worked so much for Granada Television over the years. I mean, when I came in, I'm not proud. I don't mind saying, but I know you're an actor. And you said, yes, and you're an astrologer. Yeah. But I've seen you in Coronation Street, I've seen you in Brass, I've seen you in loads and loads of stuff. So does this mean, like they say to me, because I'm going around doing travelling, you've given up the astrology? I've not given up the astrology, but I happen to prefer this. Same for you?
Yeah, people kind of think you do one thing, don't they?
I know they do.
Life's not like that.
There
are changes and you do different things. I mean, no, definitely not retired. Keep telling my agent this. No, I did a big series for Channel 4 at Christmas, Melissa, and there are other things, on the way. I took 6 months off to do this, and now, I've got a manager who you've met. I mean, the place runs itself, in theory.
But you obviously love food, cooking. Is that why you chose a restaurant?
I love restaurants, and I love cooking. I'd never cook in a restaurant. That's a completely different thing. No, the building is what attracted me, because it was derelict when I took it over. And it was such a shame to see a building like this in a place like this going to waste. And also there was actually nowhere in the area to eat when I first moved here.
And Dulwich needs food.
It needs somewhere to eat.
Yeah, I mean, Mrs. Thatcher's moved here in the past, but there's a few other well-knowns in Dulwich too.
Yeah, it's quite a wealthy area, but it's also got lots of young families, and it needed a kind of, I wanted a community restaurant. It looks a bit daunting, but it isn't. We're quite informal.
Well, I think I'm going to go modern British. Sausage and mash with fried onions. But there again, no, I'll stick with that. But there again, there is warm chocolate pudding with kumquat ice cream. Lovely. Thank you very much. No, as it is, that's splendid. Thank you very much. Plenty of vitamin C, all fresh. That'll keep the scurvy away. Ooh. And here it comes, modern British, and it looks great. I have to, every time I do food on this programme, I go, this looks fabulous. And it does. Come on, stop lingering. Look at that. We'll have to have a close
bangers.
It is. And there's nothing better than proper fried onions, and not those things that you get in supermarkets which are all breaded and you can't find the onion.
And he uses organic ingredients. It's organic meat. And
it looks great. Can I just show yours, Gary? Look at that.
You can have a taste if you like.
Have you ever seen...
It's breakfast.
Breakfast? That's that wonderful dairy-coloured bread at the bottom, isn't it, the brioche?
It's a brioche, yeah. Scrambled
eggs.
Parma ham.
Parma ham, which is like your bacon.
And that's rocket. But that's the best rocket in the country. It's flown in from Italy.
Well, there we are.
Not good.
And I think it's a good time to introduce you to a gentleman over there. You'll find out more about him later. Just gaze into his eyes, and we'll tell you all about him in a minute. Now go away, we're eating.
Now guess what's coming, Russell? Something chocolatey.
He's a sexy beast, isn't he? No wonder he gets all the good parts. And here it comes.
Here we go.
Something chocolatey.
Willy Wonka,
Is it you? Is it me? Is it just imagination?
The talent is endless.
Thank you, darling. He's so... Oh, it's something gooey in the middle. This is what we really like, gooey middles. Now then, I have a feeling this is a bit souffle-ish.
It is.
I'm not going to say this.
You can't say anything. Put chocolate in your mouth.
But just look at that. It's all... Oh, look at that. Oh, gosh, please don't write it. Now, this is a gentleman that you met when we were having that wonderful lunch. It's Brian Green, and Brian's going to be our tour around Dulwich. And you brought me to this place. Now, I'll tell you immediately my observations on this little clapboard house, white. When you go in from New York, from Idlewild, Chozo Oldham, JFK, you see a lot of these type of houses along the road.
Yes.
And it's very, very similar.
Reason being, of course, local building material, New York State, woods, forests, everything else. Now here we've got a very big wood that the materials were used in the 18th century and before for this sort of construction. But then bricks became very popular in the Georgian period, and so we then had an outburst of Georgian building after 1750. There was a second bridge built across the Thames at Westminster, better roads, and so it meant that people that actually had businesses in the city could come out here quite quickly, even in the 18th century, by carriage, out here, live out here, rural surroundings, and then commute. So they were 18th century commuters.
So this was one of the original houses?
This was earlier, this is one of the original ones over here, if we go and have a look.
Yes, have a look. And that restaurant we were in, so that would have been part of the Georgian expansion,
Indeed it was. It was 1785, so that's sort of in this flush of the Georgian expansion down here.
And was that lived in by anyone particularly famous, or were they just wealthy?
The only notable person that would have lived there would have been the Spicer family, who were involved in paper making. But this house
look at this.
is very impressive.
It is.
This was built by Alderman Wright in 1767, and he was a millionaire. He was a stationer by profession and Lord Mayor of London. An absolutely beautiful house, as you can see. It was used for many years as one of the boarding houses of Dulwich College. But what has happened is that boarding numbers, of course, in boarding schools have got smaller, and so the boarding strength of the college has got smaller, whereas the day boy strength has enlarged. So they've actually passed now back into a family occupancy. If you remember from Pickwick Papers, Dickens retired Samuel Pickwick to Dulwich, where I think the last few pages of Pickwick Papers say, and Mr. Pickwick is now retired to Dulwich, where he's frequently seen admiring the pictures in the local gallery, and so on, how he's admired by the local residents. Well, this is the house, we're just coming up to it now, that tradition has it that this was where Dickens had in mind that Pickwick was going to retire to. There's also an idea that the owner of this house at the time was a friend of Dickens.
Is this it here?
We're just coming up to it here. We're going to have a better view, I think, actually in the front gate, you'll see.
And there it is.
And there it is.
Look at this. A country cottage in London. Brian Tesman's absolutely right. And how many miles are we from London?
You're 5 miles from London.
5 miles from London. And look at this. This little nook and cranny we have here.
Yes, this is one of a group of 10 of these cottages, which were actually built for a tile kiln, which is what used to stand behind me here. Not only tiles, but they used to make chimney pots and stuff like that. Floor tiles were a big thing, of course, in the Middle Ages. This tile kiln and clay pits were probably operating from the Middle Ages up until the 18th century.
This is a good point actually to talk about Dulwich as a whole, because you know, you think of Dulwich affluent.
Yes.
Was it always that way?
No, it was very poor until this Georgian expansion. Dulwich just about made ends meet because it was agricultural.
Oh, so it was
That's
just
all.
a village, was it?
Just very much a village, a small village too.
Yeah, and so when they came over, because if you look at the old maps of London, you see that the main growth in the south starts at Southwark, doesn't it?
Yes, Southwark was always a nucleus of habitation, Roman, as you know, and a market, and also the stews and the theatres and so forth, spreading over from the city. But it didn't spread much beyond Southwark. When you look at the maps, because there was a dense forest at the back of us here, very high, 360, 70 feet high in the forest. And so it was a fairly isolated rural hamlet.
Did it suffer much in the war?
Yes, it was the fourth heaviest bombed borough, 500 high explosive bombs, 34 doodlebugs, a lot of damage.
Much damage to the college?
Yes, lost its science block. There was a lot of damage here.
Right.
As you probably know, the story was it was worked out that where the Germans were under programming their V1s and V2s, especially the V1s, the centre of impact was in fact North Dulwich Station, and this is why we had so many of these rockets dropped here. Misinformation was fed back to the Germans that the misinformation was that the Germans in fact were over programming, and so they readjusted, and that's why Penge got so badly damaged, and the Dulwich became a little yes, they all landed on Penge instead of Dulwich.
Oh, no.
Hard luck Penge.
Ah, yeah.